No pain is bigger than my purpose.
We put on a show.
Through the darkness, there's a light within me.
Star power.
Hey.
I got star power.
Hey.
Star power.
I came to seize the dream. You can hear the scream, set the scene. This the theme, about to start a new regime. Act like Dak when I drop back. Kept it come back, call me Starback. Swoop like Coop with a toe tap. That's all facts, ain't no cap. New flames, we lighting it up. Blue stars, we brighten it up. Showstopper, excitement to rub. Married to the game, wifing it up. I am colossal, unstoppable. Calling audibles, I move methodical. I do what they thought was impossible. Clear our view, I see through any obstacle. Feed Zeke, we ready to grub. CD in the 88 club. It's the Dallas ballad, hated the love. I'm going up and I'm taking the dub. Star status, illumination. Who the baddest? Through the nation. Any given Sunday, it's a congregation. No team full of stars, it's a constellation. Everywhere we go, oh, we put on a show. Oh, star power. I got star power. This is star power. They call it star power. From the glory in the graves, oh, I illuminate. Oh, star power. I got star power. This is star power. They call that star power. Stored presence, I'm Landry in the fedora. I know it, I'm in my essence. I step in, I got the order. To all deceivers and fake players, non-believers and naysayers. I'm a hot boy, 7 haymakers. Michael Irvin, I'm a playmaker. It's the American dream, Big D, America's team. That's for us to settle to our reign supreme. On a higher level, rearrange a scheme. Head on the swivel is critical. Coach, I come through and it's pivotal. I'm in my element, this game is chemical. Came from the bottom, now I reached the pinnacle. What can they say? I make moves constant. I pave the way like I'm Moose Johnston. I'm driven cause nothing is given, it's taken away. Tell me who wants it. Strike a pose for the images. Life is a movie, I'm limitless. I am the GOAT, Emmitt Smith. Faith fight, finish it. Everywhere we go, oh, we put on a show. Oh, star power. I got star power. This is star power. They call it star power. From the glory in the graves, oh, I illuminate.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is time to double up on the BDG page, baby. It's the Cowboy Cousins live show. It's your favorite Cowboy Cousins, BG, the Cowboys Unifier. And I got a special guest today. Man, you're going to want to stay tuned because if you know about Micah Parsons, you know, the young lion, then you got to know about Mufasa. So shout out to Mufasa. I'm dubbing him here today. I got Mr. Terrence Parsons, the father of Micah Parsons, you know, that young star power, number 11, my favorite number. Welcome to the show, Mr. Parsons. How you doing today?
Hey, good afternoon. I'm doing good. How you doing?
Man, I'm outstanding. I'm outstanding. And we got quite a few folks rolling with us. We got about 30 folks on the line with us. So let's give some shout outs before we get into the meat of the show today. We're live here on Facebook in 4 different places on the Built Different group page, OAT, the Cowboy Cousins special group, exclusive group, and then also on YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so it can help the video out. So let's give some shout outs right quick. We got Mr. Keith rolling with us today. Good morning, Mr. Keith says that track was fire. So special shout out to Keezy Montoya. I think it's quite fitting that we talk about star power today as we got one of the biggest stars in the National Football League, let alone America's team here today. We got top fan Ty Murray rolling with us from Ohio. We got the prototype. They wrote Thick as Thieves out there. That's the prototype here. She's star status Cowboys Connection, Ohio. Represent up there in Lansing, Michigan. We see you, girl. We got Oklahoma on the line. Hey, Tony, how you doing? Got Mr. Cuff. You know, Lady Vice's better half. Shout out to Mr. Cuff. I think you've met them before. How you crept up in star status out there in Ohio and Canton.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we got Lady Vice on the line with us too here as well. So she's a fan base creator and also a member of Star Status Cowboys Connection, Ohio. And we couldn't have a show without at least one. We always got to have at least one of these, Mr. Parsons. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but a Facebook user always seems to tap in. So we want to welcome the Facebook user here today because all you got to do is go to StreamYard to register. So that way we can see your name and a face. Because, you know, we like to keep a face because we sometimes might get a case around here. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But this is Caitlin Burton, one of our supporters here today. So thank you to all of our supporters that are joining. Make sure you share this on your timeline. We're all in the gym here today. We got 107 supporters of the content here. This show is exclusively brought by my Cowboy cousins who support the show here. And we got one of your fellow folks on the line on the West Coast. We got Star Status in the building. Hey, Glamour Woo, how you doing? Appreciate you helping me get to the tailgate out there at SoFi this year while I was lost, boots on ground. We got Mike Rock joining us today, too. Star Power, that's gang right there, all our supporters. So we pretty much got our shout-outs in this morning. I'd like to welcome Mr. Parsons to the show. What we want to talk about today is simply, what is it like as Mufasa, that I've dubbed you here today, raising the young lion that he is? You can start wherever you'd like to, Mr. Parsons.
I mean, it's just amazing. You know, it still really hasn't set in yet for me. I mean, this been his dream since he was 5 years old when he was watching. Said, I'm going to the NFL. And, you know, we all took it as a joke. But over the years, watching him play, I had to realize, you know, he was playing with God's gift. And I say that because, you know, well, at the time my wife was pregnant with him, you know, we was contemplating an abortion, you know, because we had 2 kids, we were struggling. And then at the last hour, we decided, you know, we're going to go ahead and have a baby. And I just feel like this is God letting us know what we was going to get rid of. And he's just special.
That's powerful, man. I appreciate you being, you know, emotionally naked with us here and sharing that because, you know, I mean, just think about what the Dallas Cowboys would be without young Micah Parsons. You know, I don't watch college football at all, but I know there was a lot of rave about when we drafted this, you know, this young man and the defensive ability he brings. But there was some questions because I think he held out his last year in college with the COVID stuff going on or anything like. Is that kind of what happened?
Yeah, with COVID, his son, you know, me and his mom both being diabetic, he just thought it was just safe just to sit out, you know, and we sat down, talked about it as a family, and then we agreed. But then there was a moment when the Big Ten said they wanted to play football. He started having the itch that he wanted to go back. And I was like, you know, you already prayed on it. You made the decision, you know, just cheer from afar, you know, get focused on your next step.
Right. And then there was some suspicion about, you know, I know there was some video I seen of Micah saying he wanted to go to Dallas. And me and you were chatting just before we got on the show. And I thought, well, you know, some folks like, you know, you look at Tony Pollard and his family, and I use this as an example. They grew up Steelers fans, and you're out there in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So the first thing I thought was they were probably Eagles fans. But surprisingly, you were a Cowboys fan prior to your son getting drafted. Is that correct?
Yes. Been a Cowboys fan since '78.
Wow.
And, you know, it was just funny because when I was out in California, when he was training, he was like, well, you know, I'm going to be a Cowboy, Dad. And I was like, yeah, I doubt it. He said, just think about it. I was at Central Dauphin, then I transferred to Harrisburg, where you graduated from. I ended up going to Penn State. You're a Penn State fan. He said, it's only right that I be a Cowboy.
Wow.
And the rest is history.
You know, that's great to know because I remember seeing that video. Micah was adamantly saying, I want to go to the Cowboys. I want to go to the Cowboys. Can you tell us what it was like once they called his name? Well, I don't know. Were you there personally when that happened? How did that exchange go when he was finally drafted by the Cowboys?
Yeah, we were at the draft, and, you know, it was crazy because when the Cowboys traded the pick, like, we were all like, wow, this is unbelievable. Because, you know, I was saying to myself,
they traded back to the Eagles, I think.
They traded back, yeah. So my phone started going off. They were like, yeah, Parson, we about to give you your Eagles jersey. We about to give you your Eagles jersey. And I was like, nah, this can't be true. But then when Jerry gave me the call, it was like, wow, it was really meant to be. You know, for me, it was like the end of the book. You know, like, who would have thought my son would have got drafted to my team?
Wow. That is just unbelievable. And, you know, that makes, you know, a lot of folks here saying they're getting emotional. That kind of makes the hair on my arm stand up because, like we were sharing, and it goes back to this little story here in Canton, Ohio. We had the Jimmy Johnson and Drew Pearson induction, and a bunch of Cowboy fans went out there. And then you kind of stealthily showed up at a function out there with some Cowboy fans, and you said, wow, I thought I was diehard. These are some diehard Cowboy fans. Can you share that moment a little bit and kind of how that went down with Star Status?
Yeah, so me and my friends, we pulled up to our hotel. We checked in that. I was like, yo, you see them Cowboy fans? I said, let's get on and go talk to them. So I ran up on them. It was Pinky, Jim, Miss Eileen. You know, I was like, hey, y'all Cowboy fans, you know. I was being funny but kind of serious, you know, because I hadn't seen so many Cowboy fans before. And I was like, hey, y'all know who? I said, do you like our first round draft pick? The one lady was like, I'm not fooling with you. I guess she kind of like knew who I was because she might have watched the draft.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, yeah, we know Micah Parsons. And, you know, I was like, oh, okay, I'm just checking, you know. I was like, that's like my son. They was like, for real, okay, you playing. I was like, no, for real. But I didn't know how serious they was about being Cowboy fans. Then they start spitting history to me. And them being women like caught me off guard because back home, you know, females watch football, but they just watch it because their men or boyfriend, husband watch it. They're not really in tune with it. And they just start spitting history. Then I started seeing all there again. I was like, whoa, this is a different type of fan.
Right. And then, you know, I learned of that story later, and I understand you met with Star Status Cowboys Connection because I met up with Lady Vice and Cuff, who are actually watching on the show here, and I've dubbed them the first power couple of the fan base. Now, we know there's other power couples out there, but being that we were in the cradle of the NFL football where NFL was born, you know, you kind of crept up on that show we had shortly after there in August, and you were watching the show, and we didn't even know it, and they were like, that's Mr. Parsons, that's Terrence Parsons' father, or Mr. Micah Parsons' father that was on the show. So I was like, what? And, you know, things just began to go from there. And I couldn't believe that, you know, you were a Cowboys fan prior to coming to this, because a lot of folks, you know, they actually will change their teams as their kids get drafted. And I just think that's really special.
Yeah. I mean, and just being amongst them was great. Like when they said they was going back to the hotel, then I heard somebody say, we're playing dominoes. I said, oh, man, I'm just out there having fun with them.
Right.
And then toward the end of the night, that's when I met Lady Vice. She was like, how you doing? Like, I'm Mr. Parsons. And she was just like, yeah, I said, I'm Micah's dad. And she was like, wow, nobody said nothing. I'm like, hey, I'm just a regular person. I just like to mingle, have fun. You know, I'm not out here trying to be a celebrity, just trying to see what this is all about. You know, I've never been in a room with that many Cowboy fans that were that emotional about the Cowboys, being from PA.
And I can clearly see you got your Star Status chain up there, so you representing the brand right there. So shout out to Star Status.
Yeah.
Cowboy Kev, baby. You know, I had Cowboy Kev here on the show the other day. I know you said you watched that show too as well. And when I met him initially, what, you know, inspired me to be attached to him was he said his goal was he wanted the Cowboys to recognize his club. And I thought that was very powerful. So I'm glad that we're amongst family. And I remember Lady Vice and Mr. Cuff sharing that on there, that you were just a regular person hanging out just there, you know, like you said, weren't trying to be a celebrity. And I think folks really loved that aspect about you and respected that mostly because, you know, we see some of these parents and a lot of their kids get drafted and they make it about them.
Yeah. Nah. And then, you know, they always ask why my son's so humble. Like, I'm not really into a whole lot of celebrating. So when he was younger, you know, he's a running back. And I was like, well, you know, when you score, first you got to score when you first get the ball because a lot of running backs. I said, but when you score, just get the ball to the ref. I like you've been there before. Nobody likes to show off. So, you know, all the way up, you know, he scored, you know, pray to God and everything, just run off the field. He celebrates now. I feel he earned it. You know, when he get a sack, he got his little dances. But he never really had a move because I was like, hey, there's no need to do all that. You know, act like you've been there before. You know, usually you celebrate like that when you never did it. You just excited. I can't believe I've done it. And you was made to do this. So just enjoy the moment.
That's awesome. And, you know, being friends with you on Facebook, I see you go live all the time. Now, I know you're out there in Harrisburg. I want to give you a quick plug on some things that you do. I see you doing some things out there, promotion. You got club stuff going on. You care to share any details about what you got going on in Harrisburg out there?
Oh, I just be trying to put a little bit of comedy shows together back home and little painting sips. You know, Harrisburg, we're the capital, but it don't really be a lot going on. So we always travel to Baltimore and Philly to do stuff. So I like to bring the comedy to Harrisburg. So like my one episode, I call it Kick Back and Laugh Close to Home. So I get a couple of comedians that I met amongst my travels. They come to Harrisburg, put on good shows. Then it's a private club. I just call it Laugh Out Loud, the private explosion. You got to be a member to come to the club. So just trying to do a little something, nothing major, you know, It's something different.
Right. It's a little bit, it's built different. I can get down with you over there. I understand what you're talking about. So, but I also, in addition, see you going to the games. Now you're headed out to the game there tomorrow, correct?
Yes.
I got some fans here that want to know, I think you said, you know, you shared with me before, you're going to be at a meet and greet here tonight But some of the fans want to know, are you planning to go to a tailgate? And I know I said I'd get you some of that information. If we get that to you, we'd be interested going out to mingle with some of the folks. I think our folks that are boots on ground, particularly our supporter, Caitlin Bertson, who's active duty Navy out there in Virginia, has got a question. She said she wanted to know if you'd be out there at the tailgate.
Yes, if I know where the tailgate is, I definitely will pull up. I mean, hey, I like to mingle. You know, college tailgates and NFL tailgates is different. So I'm trying to learn the aspect and who to hang out with and everything. But I love a good tailgate.
Right. And I think that's where we initially met at the home opener. You know, you had hit me and said, hey, where's the function at? You know, lot 10, where we always talk about, that's the function on Collins and Randall Mills, the corner. That's the only tailgate you really need to be concerned with. So I appreciate you pulling up over there. And like, as always, you just kind of walked in, strolled in, and people, and then before you know it, hey, this is Micah Parsons' father. But within 10 seconds, like you had about 30 people around you trying to take photos with you. They were happy that you were there. So that's good to know that you'll be out there. Now, you said you're going to this meet and greet. Which meet and greet is that one that you're going to tonight?
I'm in Bowie, Maryland.
Okay,
it starts at 7. Yeah,
that's the one that
somebody sent me a flyer, and I was like, yeah, I got a couple of friends from Harrisburg. We're going to roll down and pull up, you know.
Okay.
Have a good time.
That's Karima Styles event, the DMV, Dallas Cowboys fan club out there, and Cowboy Kev from Star Status is actually going to be there too as well. So that'll be cool. You'll be there with the brand. You got it on. And, you know, that's going to be awesome that you'll be accessible to the fans out there. Now, I did bring up my supporter. She said she had that question. Something kind of unique between me and you we discovered on the convo before we got on was you served in the Army.
Yes.
You said you did 4 years active, 4 years reserve. Talk a little bit about your service there, because I was Navy, you know that, and there's a big game on today also called the Army-Navy game. So tell everybody a little bit about your service in the Army, if you would, Mr. Parsons.
Yeah, so all my uncles was in the Army and everything, so I really wasn't in the college at the moment. So my junior year, they had a program called Split Option. So my junior summer, I did basic training. So I went out to Oklahoma, and after I graduated high school, I went to Fort Lee, Virginia for AIT. Then I came back and went to college. After about a semester in, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go for service full time. I chose Colorado, and I spent 3 years out there doing my thing. And then during that time, I went out to Somalia for like 5 months. That was nice over in Africa.
Right.
You know, Operation Restore Hope. You know, then after that, in 95, I got back out, did my reserve time, and stayed here in Harrisburg.
I think that's awesome. I didn't actually know that till this morning, and I was over there kind of perusing your profile. I wanted to make sure we had some good questions to ask you. And I was like, man, the Army-Navy game is today, and he's Army, and I'm Navy. So that's Caitlin. She checked in, and we got Lady Vice on there commenting. She said, thank you for your service, TP.
Oh, thanks. It was fun. I always thought about if I'd have stayed in, but I think getting out and being grounded for my kids allowed them to be able to pursue their dreams.
Right. And we got another Cowboy cousin on the line with us. Fred, Cowboys fan Waters, is also part of a Star Status Cowboys connection out there in IE, the Inland Empire. He's retired Army too as well. So he's saying Army in the building.
Hey.
Well, that's what's up. Now, we recently seen some news that Micah had a trademark, which on his clothing line, if you guys scroll up all the way to the top, there's a pin post here. It's got the link to Micah Parsons merch store, where Humble Beast merchandise is available. But recently, just on a couple of days ago, he had news break on his Twitter that he trademarked "A Lion Has to Eat," and that was inspired by Kobe Bryant. And can you talk a little bit about his clothing line and kind of how that, you know, like I said, you're Mufasa, so we're talking about young Simba becoming his lion in his own pride. Can you talk a little bit about his clothing line a little bit and how that came to be?
Well, it came from his tattoo, Humble Beast. You know, after the Cotton Bowl, when he got it on his arm, Humble Beast, and then, you know, as he started to play in the NFL, they started saying, hey, you stay hungry. He's like, yeah, the lion always eat. The lion always stay hungry. So he just kept saying it, and then somebody came to him and said, hey, let's trademark it. So they trademarked it. Then he put his picture out, half lion, half human face, Humble Beast. And it's just something he started. He just want to see how it go. If it goes well, he's gonna expand it.
I think it's going to have no problem expanding, because right now he currently leads all rookies with 10 sacks. here we are on December 11th. My favorite number is 11. So when he came in the league, I was like, I don't really buy jerseys, but man, I might have to get me a Micah Parsons jersey. It looks like he's going to be able to get his 11th sack and not only be the defensive rookie of the year, but there's talk about him becoming possibly, he's got some ground to cover, which we think he can at a high rate, possibly becoming a defensive player of the year for the NFL. Can you talk to his work ethic about that? What keeps the young lion hungry week in and week out as he goes into these NFL games?
Oh, he always wants to be the best. He doesn't matter what it is, from football to basketball, wrestling, baseball, track, checkers, speed, bowling. He just wants to be number one. And he's going to always question, like, if they told him tomorrow he had to play corner, he's going to go out there and play the best he can. He just loves the game of football. Even through high school, we would go to camps as a D, and he'd be like, oh, today I want to play wide receiver, or today I want to play cornerback. They would let him. It'd just be amazing just to watch him out there. I mean, his desire to be number one is just unheard of. He was just born with it.
I mean, it's clearly translating on the field, and it's exciting to watch because now we're going to get to see him tomorrow with a Tank, with a Randy Gregory, and a Neville Gallimore in there. Tell me what your thoughts are going into the game tomorrow at FedEx Field. What do you expect to see from that defense, especially now maybe allowing the Lion to roam free?
Man, I'm going to use one of his old words. It's going to be spooky. I mean, you ain't going to be the double team everybody.
Exactly.
So somebody's going to eat tomorrow, whether it's him, Gregory, D-Law, somebody's going to eat. I'm just waiting to see how they're going to do it. Outside of D-Law, over top of the center, bringing pressure. But yes, somebody's going to eat.
Yeah. There's been a lot of rah-rah around the Washington football team, the team with no name, and, about this 4-game win streak that they're on. And, we've had our challenges too as well, but we're getting a fully healthy team back with the exception of Tony Pollard. He's game time decision. Zeke's been banged up, but he's been a full participant. And then we went and signed this young running back. So I think you're right. Somebody's going to have to eat tomorrow. But I think Micah's going to get at least his 11th plus maybe sacks tomorrow, especially because you're right. Nobody's going to be able to double team those guys.
Yeah, I'm excited.
That's me and you both. So getting back to his clothing line, he tweeted the actual photo of Kobe, rest in peace, my favorite, LA Laker of all time. I named my son Bryant. That's how hard of a diehard Cowboy Laker fan I am. And I know we talked about, the Cowboys Laker fans that are out there. So shout out to all the Cowboys Laker fans. I know you said you're a Philly fan, but he tweeted that photo of Kobe. Can you talk a little bit about the relation, maybe why that was, why did he develop that, or what inspired him about Kobe in terms of, that quote to launch his trademark where the lion has to eat?
Kobe's work ethic, his desire to be number one, never stop working, no matter during the season, out of season, just keep working. So just the comparisons that he keeps getting, that just inspires him. Like, if you hear him talk, he'd be like, yeah, my numbers might have been good, but I missed this play right here. Like, he's never satisfied. And I always would be like, yeah, you did okay, but you could have worked on something else. Like, I never let him think like he reached his pinnacle. You always had work to do. You had 10 tackles, but you could have had 12, like you were short, just keep being hungry.
And, I noticed that about him in the media because he's always humble when asked those questions. And you're right. He exudes that. I think that's derived from the Mamba mentality, literally from the book of Kobe Bryant. So that initially got me because I had to ask, who is Micah Parsons' NBA team? I know you said you're the Sixers. Is he the Sixers also?
He just likes players now.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. He may be low-key Sixers. He may low-key Sixers, but, I know he loves Curry. He loves LeBron. He's just a fan of players now.
Yeah. Clearly. And, I can agree with that too as well. And I know a lot of fans that aren't Cowboy fans can agree with that too, that are Kobe fans. A lot of folks had Kobe misconstrued early on that he was cocky and confident, but it was his work ethic. And as it translated over the years, we've seen as it produced championships. And just like, Micah's got this production of these sacks, but he's clearly humble in the media. And I noticed that right off the bat that he's always like, there's more work to do. He was talking, saying that, there's 5+ games left still. and then he was adding the playoff games in there and everything. Like, his focus is just off the charts. It's definitely Mamba mentality. And I know that makes you proud. So how does that feel as a father of a star on the most polarizing team, which you grew up with? I mean, how does that feel for you, being a Cowboy fan and then now seeing your son play on America's team?
I mean, it's overwhelming. You know, even when I be at the games, I just be looking like, man, he's really out here doing this thing. Like I said, I know he loved football, but I didn't expect him to have this type of impact his rookie season. You know, after sitting out a year, I mean, when I sit back and look at everything, he didn't start his freshman year at Penn State. He started his second year. Then he sat out a year, first-round draft pick, and now he's like a superstar. You know, that just goes to his work ethic. And like I always say, you can't teach heart and hustle, and he has a lot of that.
Definitely. So I appreciate you really coming on here and taking the time to spend with us. You know, you just doing this right now speaks volumes, just like walking up on Star Status Cowboys Connection as a regular person and hanging out with us here. I know that goes a long way, because this fan base, like you learn very quickly when you ran up on them out there in Ohio, is unlike any other. And especially when it comes to women, they know their football. So could you talk a little bit more about that, how you were really impressed by the women that know football in this fan base?
Yeah, man, like, they really do their homework. Like, even after the game, I was like, yeah, I was kind of mad. I wanted to see my son play a little bit more. And Miss Eileen was like, what are you talking about? He did what he's supposed to do. Play a little bit. Now he's going to rest and get ready for the season. Like she came at me. I was like, whoa, okay, my fault, you know, because I'm used to seeing him play a lot. And not having to see him play his junior year, like, that was my first bit to see him. And watch him just play, 2 series, I think, in the Hall of Fame game. And you see how his reaction was, Coach, I'm done. Can I get back in? Like, he wasn't used to that either. It took a minute to understand, hey, your time's coming.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm glad that Mike McCarthy stashed that new weapon that he drafted in the young line, because, you know, he's a very integral piece of this team. And I believe he's going to be the one that helped lead that defensive side of the ball with Dan Quinn, who's came in there and revitalized that. Can you touch on a little bit about maybe him playing for Dan Quinn? What has that been like with him on America's team and this defensive scheme of Dan's?
I mean, he was excited, and just like with Brent Pry at Penn State, he's going to pick his brain. How can I get better? What can I do? And the coach is just feeding him. He's asking for knowledge. He's giving it to him, and he puts it into his repetition every day.
Well, awesome. So I appreciate everybody tuning in here today. I appreciate your time, Mr. Parsons. Like I said, the young lion has to eat. We know that's a trademark that's been filed. So scroll up to the top. If you guys want to get your Humble Beast merch, it's there right now. Scroll up to the top. His link is there. You know, we've got his father here today, which I've clearly called him. If you know, a lot of the 90s Cowboy fans watched The Lion King before. So I think they can identify with that. But you Mufasa, baby. I'm calling you the Mufasa because young Simba about to do his thing in the Lion Pride out there. Any parting shout outs before we get out of here? I know you're shouting out Star Status there a little bit before we get you off the show.
Hey, 717, we in the building, baby. We heading down 95.
So y'all look forward for Mr. Parsons out there, because you know this Dallas Cowboy fan base, you know, we got to stand up. So we're going to end it on a great note. The lion has to eat, man. Thank you for joining us here today, Mr. Parsons. It's been
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure. I look forward to bringing you on again, and we're going to see you out there on the field. I know I'll be looking for your live videos out there, and then be sure to touch those fans out there. I'll get you that tailgate information too as well. And don't forget, DMV fan club, Karima Styles is having that meet and greet out there with Star Status Connection. If you didn't watch that show, scroll back and check it out. That's where Mr. Parsons is going to be at for the meet and greet tonight. So y'all can go out there and meet Mufasa himself. We'll see you guys on the next episode, baby. It's your favorite Cowboys unifier. It's your Cowboys cousin. And this has been the Cowboy Cousin Live Show. It's time to what? Stand up. We'll see y'all on the next episode.
All right.
Stand up, stand up, stand up. 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 Stand up, Cowboy Nation, make it hella loud. Get it jumping, music pumping, time to move the crowd. Show out, cause we the fan base that are world renowned. Taking over every stadium and city around. We up, we're making crazy noise. Fan clubs around the world saying hype for them boys. Ladies shining like the jewelry, nuts covered in stars. They $1 repping harder than the other team boys.
I got
Stand
my
up.
game face on, so I'm not afraid. Female referee MC calling all the plays. Cowboy divas holding it down, we gravity. Live, love, laugh, and root for the Dallas Cowboys. Stand up on our teams and yeah, we them boys. Blue lipstick, cut up jeans, confident and not cocky. Hell yeah, we them boys, America's team. I tell them, damn right, I'm a Cowboy fan. America's team, #1 fan base in the land. See at his Miley Elo Sabes putting pressure on that. Who run the world? Ladies do, reppin' Dallas, Texas. Stand up, get in line and Cowboy up with me. We come through, show stopping, customize, bling jersey, Cowboy hat, Valentine. Leading the NFC East, reppin' America's team. DJ Kai, Vice Lady, needs you all up on your feet. So mommies and poppies, scream!
Stand up, Cowboy Nation, make it hella loud. Get it jumping, music pumping, time to move the crowd. Show out, cause we the fan base that are world renowned. Taking over every stadium and city around. We up, we're making crazy noise. Fan clubs around the world staying hype for them boys. Ladies shining like the jewelry, nuts covered in stars. They $1 repping harder than them other team boys. Stand up.